Take two.
Go.
We are about to remove a vanity.
What's going on in here?
This weekend, I am filming in a flight path shop. How hungry are you? I'll take all day. This is potentially the most awkward project ever. I just said jazzed up. Wait, come in more.
Closer.
Weekender behind the design for 03 Mark AB.
Nailed it. Guys, welcome back to the Weekender Behind the Design. I just spent the weekend with Melanie and Joe working on their home work hub, and I gotta tell you, it was like a super high energy weekend. They were such a fun couple to work with, and their banter and Melanie's energy. I think I have a lot of energy. This chick is like next level energy. Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
Me too, obviously.
Here's the backstory. Melanie and Joe both work from home. Joe worked from home first, so he got like first dibs. And then a couple years ago, Melanie started working from home too, which meant one home office became a shared office. But the crazy thing is, they never added an extra desk. They legitimately just pulled an extra chair in. So these two have been working face to face, day in and day out. Actually, I sit like this. I sit sideways. This is so sad. Their design questionnaire kind of told me that they liked the hardwood floors. They were in really great condition. Couldn't see much of the floor because it was covered with stuff, but they claimed that they liked what was underneath all the stuff. They also liked the amount of natural light that came in, and I agree. I think natural light in a space is key. That's about where it ended. They didn't like anything else about the space. I would add that I liked that they had really high ceilings in there. They were like 9 or 10 foot ceilings, and I think that made the small space feel a little bit bigger. So I'm adding that to their love list, even though they didn't say it. What they didn't like about the space, they were so over having a shared desk, and they needed more space to work and spread out and actually function as two very successful professionals. They also hated the clutter. They needed organization systems. Within Joe's work, he had a lot of files for clients, and they needed to save them and be able to access them. And at this point, it was like piles of files everywhere. They also put on their list what they hate. Everything. They just said everything. They hated everything about this space, except for maybe who they shared it with. I think they were still pretty fond of each other. Now, as far as their style, Melanie kind of weighed in on this more than Joe did. Joe was like, I don't care, as long as it's organized, she can do whatever she wants in this space. I think that's common a lot of times. Like, one person in the relationship cares, one doesn't. Are you the carer or the not carer? Let me know in a comment below. I'm obviously the carer. My husband used to give input. He's learned not to anymore. He usually just ends up liking what I do at the end, for the most part. Okay, so Melanie was looking for colorful, like modern and contemporary, and she also said she liked a little bit of the like a nod to farmhouse. But she liked bold patterns, and she liked color, and she wanted it just to feel fresh, and a place that when she walked into every day, she was like ready to conquer the world at work. I can totally get on board with that. I feel like her style kind of aligned with where my style tends to lean as well. Personal favorite project in this space was the wallpapered ceiling. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I am still a little sore. My neck is still just a little tired from looking up for so long, but it was 1,000,000% worth it. I'm being suffocated by wallpaper. It's a really great beginner-friendly project, especially if you're doing it on a wall. Go for it. You could do this in a couple hours. Ceiling, gonna take you a little bit more time. It took us, I don't know, maybe 3+ hours to bang this one out. Melanie had mentioned to me, she's like, oh, I'm a big fan of accent walls, and I know you can do a lot of accent walls, but the shape of their room was a little funky, and I thought that we could level up, no pun intended, actually pun intended completely, level up our accent wall by putting it on the ceiling. Now, here's the thing. If you are going to do a wallpapered ceiling treatment, you need to use peel and stick wallpaper, okay? You do not want to deal with glue and then holding it up there. You would have to physically hold the paper up on your ceiling until it tacked up. You don't want that. Peel and stick wallpaper is sticker meets contact paper because it's very forgiving. If you put a piece up and it's off, you can peel it right off the ceiling and kind of reposition it and put it back up. It's not gonna lose its stickiness and its tackiness. It's still gonna hold onto the ceiling. I chose a kind of intense, bold pattern for the ceiling for a couple reasons. This pattern was very, very easy to install. It was busy, and so yeah, we wanted to line up our pattern perfectly, which we did, but if we were off by just even like a 1/16 of an inch, you were never gonna see it. If this were stripes or something that had a little bit less of a busy pattern, you would have noticed any imperfections. And so if you're just starting out with wallpapering and you're crazy enough to try it on the ceiling like me, then go for a busier pattern. It'll give you a little more freedom to maybe have something off by just a hair. A couple things about working from home. I made like a really big career shift. I was in higher education for 10 years, and 5 of those I spent working from home in a home office for a while. That's why I could totally relate with Melanie and Joe working from home. But there are a few essentials to keeping yourself focused when you're working from home, and we tried to put these things into this home office. So I call them like work from home essentials, homework hub essentials, something like that. We'll give it a fancy name. If you have a better name for it, just leave a comment below. But there are things you should know if you're working from home. One of the things is plenty of workspace. If you limit yourself to this tiny little workspace, if you're anything like me, you have a lot of different projects going on at once, and you need to be able to access those things. So we gave plenty of workspace for each Melanie and Joe. And then we also gave them a shared workspace, which is a real luxury and bonus, because if you ever have someone that comes into your home office and need to have a meeting, I mean, that middle peninsula that's stuck out there for them would be perfect for that. You also want to have a calendar that's super flexible. I mean, everything is on computers these days or on our phones, but having your schedule up in front of you really lets you prioritize and plan out and task your day out. So we gave them this cool acrylic calendar. If you aren't like a on-the-wall calendar person, I challenge you to try it because it really ups my productivity to see what it is and add things right away. I also think that hidden storage is key. Open storage is all the rage, and I love it in kitchens and different things, but actually I think I'm more a fan of combination storage because I want to be able to see some things, but also there are plenty of things you shouldn't see because they can be distracting. I'm not going to go too in depth on the built-in wall that we did because we covered a lot of that in the episode, but what I do want to talk to you guys about is looking at stock cabinetry differently. I think one of the biggest things that we did in here was just flipping the cabinets on their side. You know, you see a cabinet and you see it this way and you think, oh, I can only use it this way. But we flipped it on its side and suddenly we had this awesome file storage system. And we had a completely different look for our built-ins. It looked like it was intended to be a built-in. It looked like it was intended to be on its side. No one would be like, you take a kitchen cabinet and put it on its side there? No, never would anyone know that. Guys, make sure that if you have any questions about this makeover or if you work from home and have any other tips, leave them below because I'm sure everybody would love to hear what works for you. Leave a comment below and make sure that you're subscribed to the Lowe's YouTube channel. You don't want to miss a single episode of The Weekender or The Weekender Behind the Design. See you next weekend.